A big year awaits Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats, and these are three reasons why I believe that Big Blue Nation will be better in the 2024 college football season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, as well as social media and our website, secunfiltered.com. We're brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Guys, download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. When you do, use the promo code SECU at sign up to get your first deposit match of up to $100. Again, that's our friends over at Prize Picks. Promo code SECU to get your first deposit match today. After what most would qualify as a disappointing 2023 season in Lexington, Kentucky, the pressure is on Mark Stoops and company to bounce back and get back to that 8-win or more range. These are three reasons, guys, why I believe that Kentucky football could be and will be better in the 2024 college football season. And guys, we will start on the defensive side of the football. You know, it's become a staple under Mark Stoops. When you think about the identity of the Kentucky football program, what makes Big Blue Nation what they have been and what has made them so successful? I think people will think about the offensive side. They'll think about the running game. But really, guys, it's more of this overwhelming culture of physicality and nastiness and toughness and a willingness to get down and dirty in the trenches. And I think this Kentucky football team is going to have that. And I think the Kentucky defense is probably one of the most underrated units in the SEC as a whole coming in the 2024 college football season. They're going to be salty on that side. And it's led, guys, by Deion Walker. The first reason I think Kentucky is going to be better this season, guys, Deion Walker is the star up front of a veteran, underrated defense. Guys, you look at Deion Walker, and you look at his stats last year, 7.5 sacks, over 50 total tackles, and I think this guy is only going to be better this year. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew. And when you look at the size, you understand why. About 6'6", 350 pounds, give or take. I mean, this is a guy that you have to build a game plan around. If you're facing Kentucky, he is a dude. He eats up blockers in the middle. He's great at stopping the run. Again, he also got after the quarterback. And I think having that guy in the middle, you also added pieces from the transfer portal. Guys, I love Jamar Dumas-Johnson at the linebacker position, the Georgia transfer. He has played elite level football, and I think he'll do that in Lexington. Of course, you've got Brad White as your defensive coordinator, who I think is going to get the most out of this defense yet again, guys. Heck, I just saw a top 10 list of defensive back ratings, and Kentucky landed themselves in the top 10 nationally when it came to best defensive back units in all of college football. So I think this Kentucky defense, it's one that for whatever reason, it does not get talked about a lot, but I think that culture of physicality, of toughness, and when you got a guy, you got stars, right? It's about Jimmys and Joes. You got a guy like Deion Walker in the middle there that is a star of that defense, and you think about the defensive line pieces around him, I think that defensive front could be better than people realize. I think this entire defense could be better than people realize. And I think they will be. And again, I think Deion Walker, it's going to start with him. I think he's going to be even better than he was last year, which is a scary thought. And I think that's going to lead to improvement for not just Kentucky's defense, but this Kentucky football team as a whole. Guys, my second reason why I feel that Big Blue Nation will be better in 2024, you know, I found it really, really interesting. You talk to Kentucky folks, guys, and you talk about, it doesn't seem like, right, there's a lot of hype and hoopla and chatter even around this Kentucky football program thus far this offseason. But you talk to Kentucky folks, and that's intentional, right? You go back a couple of years, Will Levis and all the crazy amount of hype he had at the quarterback position had somewhat of a disappointing season. You go back to Devin Leary last year. Guys, there may not have been a more disappointing individual player in the conference based off preseason expectations and hype than what Devin Leary was last year, right? This is a guy that at NC State 2 years ago, folks were talking, hey, Devin Leary for Heisman. This is a guy that can win the Heisman Trophy. again, to call his season in Lexington last year disappointing is putting it lightly. And it really, guys, was from start to finish. I mean, even against lower level non-conference competition, Leary just never really found his stride. And there was a lot of hype that was generated by, Kentucky football themselves, by the fan base, what have you. There was a lot of hype around Devin Leary in the last couple of quarterbacks going into each of those respective seasons. Again, you talk to Kentucky folks, and there's not a lot coming out right now about Brock Vandagriff. There's not a lot of hype and hoopla. There's not a lot of promo videos and hype videos and things of that nature. That's on purpose. And guys, it leads me to the second reason I think Kentucky will be better this year. And under the radar offseason is going to set Brock Vandagriff up for success. I think it's a great position for Brock Vandagriff, this Kentucky offense, and this Kentucky football team. I think it's a great position to be in, right? Not a lot of people expecting a ton from you. I don't think anybody expects Kentucky to be terrible this year necessarily, but we're not hearing as much chatter about, maybe an 8-4 team, maybe 9-3, maybe contending for the college football playoff. Like, I've not heard that from a single person, right? And Brock Vandagriff, a guy, listen, not a lot of experience, has not played a lot of meaningful snaps, so he is a question mark. But you love the upside. You love the talent. This is a former 5-star kid, and I think under Bush Hamdan, I think he's in good hands. But I don't think Kentucky would have it any other way, that there's not a lot of hype. There's not a lot of expectations. There's this flying under the radar mentality, and specifically for Brock Vandagriff, again, after you spent the last couple off seasons hyping up quarterbacks and, really putting them on this high pedestal and putting these crazy expectations out there for them, I think it's a good thing for Brock Vandagriff that he's going to be able to come into the season. Of course, there's pressure. There's pressure at every single SEC school, but come into a season where the expectations are realistic. He's able to maybe overachieve early, build some confidence, obviously get his feet wet, get his feet underneath him, and then really burst on the scene. So I think it's been a perfect offseason for Kentucky. I think it's been a perfect offseason for Brock Vandagriff. And while he's still a question mark, I think an under-the-radar offseason is going to set Vandagriff up for success, thus setting this Kentucky offense and this Kentucky football team up for massive success. Guys, my third and final reason why I think Kentucky will be better this season, and sticking with the offensive side of the football, because of the quarterback struggles last year. They had their own inconsistencies, don't get me wrong. But because of the quarterback struggles, we did not get great glimpses at truly what Barion Brown and Dane Key could be. Right? Each of these guys had around 500, 600 yards. Not terrible. It's not like they completely vanished, and certainly they showed up big time in the bowl game against Clemson, but they did not live up to the hype or the expectations. Really, the entire Kentucky offense, maybe outside of Ray Davis, the entire Kentucky offense did not, right? And when you look at the talent, you look at the skill set, you go back to what these guys did as true freshmen. I mean, I remember being at SEC Media Days last year, asking Mark Stoops about the wide receiver room, and you could tell Mark Stoops was giddy about that room. He felt like that was the best the room had been since he had been at Kentucky. I think you could still make that argument this year, but it's just about, do Barion Brown and Dane Key live up to the hype, and are they more consistent in regards to their productivity? Guys, my third and final reason why I think Kentucky football will be better, Barion Brown, Dane Key, I think they do live up to the hype. I think they're going to remind the SEC just how lethal they both are, right? Both these guys are speedsters. You got Barion Brown in the return game as well. I think they are going to be absolute weapons for this Kentucky offense. And again, we talked Brock Vandagriff, guys, and what helps out a brand new quarterback, having two dudes like this on the outside. Also, they're not going to have to do it all by themselves, right? They're going to have a running game. Kentucky did really, really well in the portal. They bring in a transfer from Ohio State. You've also got a fantastic tight end room that's going to help them out a lot. But I think Barion Brown, Dane Key, I think they're going to return to that form that we saw from their freshman year. I think they're going to be more consistent because I think they're going to get more consistent quarterback play. I think that's going to help immensely. And I think these are two dudes not enough folks are going to be talking about going into this season. Still two of the most dynamic playmakers in the SEC. So again, guys, 3 reasons why I believe Kentucky football will be better this season. Number one, Deion Walker's the star of a veteran, underrated defense. Number 2, an under-the-radar offseason is going to set Brock Vandagriff up for success. And number 3, Barryon Brown and Dane Key are going to remind the SEC just how lethal they both are. Guys, that's going to do it off me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Again, guys, be sure to check us out on podcast versions of this show. Also, hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content. Also, guys, check us out via social media as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.